I did not know any better to message that 14-year-old girl. I'm mentally challenged.
Today I'm going to be talking about an Instagram user by the name of Johnny Campbell 777_. For this video, I'm just going to be calling him John. John currently only has 5,000 followers on Instagram, so he's not big at all, and I don't think he's ever blown up or been big. So you probably don't know who this guy is unless he's popped up on your Instagram For You page, which is how I ended up finding him. John was born in 1985, so he's in his early 40s. John grew up with his father moving around quite a bit, and he would eventually end up giving his life to Christ and being baptized in 2005. He says that he grew up on music like metal, but ever since he was baptized, he was into Christian metal. He also claims that he dabbled in a cult for a little bit until he gave his life to Christ. And in 2023, he moved into a place he could be taken care of by a caregiver, because unfortunately his parents did pass away. Fast forward to 2026, he's now moved on to making content on Instagram about his interesting political views. John is a massive Trump supporter, and it really shows in these videos.
Thank you, President Trump, for lowering the cost of Eccentric weight loss drug, which I mind. It's now covered by Medicare.
John's videos are just like any other political content creator where they just say Republican good, Democrat bad.
I go vote today. I might vote for the Democrats. That's right, folks. I might vote for them today. I might be that dumb because I'm mentally challenged.
Me personally, I'm not going to get into any of the political stuff, but it's pretty obvious that John here loves Donald Trump, and if anybody tries to say something bad about Trump, he tries his best to defend him, and his best is usually not good at all.
Liberals, you gotta prove to me that Trump is a pedophile, because you're shouting all that, and it's just like all your other hopes. You don't back it up with facts.
Somebody really said, "Prove to me you ain't one first," in the comments. Donald Trump isn't the only thing that John has love for. He also has love for Christianity because he is a big Christian. John genuinely reads the Bible and knows many verses to it. But to be honest, anytime John tries to talk about Christianity and God, he just starts spewing a bunch of bullshit. Like, somehow this guy will go from talking about a verse in the Bible to Trump to aliens all in one video.
My pastor preached on Exodus 14:14 that the Lord fight for us. Keep silent and keep calm. Only thing for us to do. Listen to God. And then he also mentioned Trump's National Day of Prayer to start off things. And he mentioned me. Whenever I asked him about if he was going to talk about the aliens, he ended up talking about the aliens. He said he might do a sermon called Are We Alone?
Genuinely, who is John's pastor? Because why is he going from reading a Bible verse to talking about Donald Trump to talking about aliens? Like, isn't he supposed to just be preaching the word of God in church? Anyways, despite John being such a massive Christian and making entire videos defending Donald Trump from people calling him a pedophile, John was actually doing the worst thing imaginable behind the scenes. That comment left on the video of him defending Trump actually had some foreshadowing behind it, because John would end up being caught messaging a 14-year-old girl through Instagram. There's very few messages between them, but we know that they are 100% real. These messages start off with John saying "sexy girl" with 2 heart eye emojis, with the girl responding with hi. John says, "You're really cute." The girl says, "Thanks. You're a little too old though." John says, "How old are you, baby?" She says 14. And then John says, "No big deal to me if not for you." These messages were brought to light by the brother of this 14-year-old girl, so this was no decoy or anything. This was literally a 14-year-old girl, and John did not care about her age. After these messages were released is when all hell broke loose on John's Instagram page, with almost every video he posted being about this incident and him trying to defend himself.
Alright, I am not a pedophile. I want to come out and say this for folks on Instagram who want to get in my comments and try to troll me over that, make up false accusation. That is slander. You're trying to ruin my reputation. One, if I was, I would be Bill Clinton. Oh, but you're not going after him. Why aren't you? Like you're going after Trump in the Epstein files and Bill's in the Epstein files, but you leave him alone.
Well, he was defending himself at first, but then it just turned into him rambling about who was in the Epstein files. What might be pretty surprising, though, is that John is actually a lot smarter than he seems, because he knows exactly what he was doing and saying to that 14-year-old. And John would immediately pull the "I'm too mentally challenged" card.
I did not know any better to message that 14-year-old girl. I'm mentally challenged.
If John was genuinely too mentally challenged, he wouldn't know to say that kind of stuff. He's clearly aware that what he was doing was really bad. And the excuses only got worse because he would start to blame it on schizophrenia as well.
I was hallucinating that I was just like Trump DMing a minor. It was just all part of my schizophrenia as I hear voices.
After John came up with all of these excuses, he would start to make videos literally joking about the entire incident.
The only A minor I talk to is A minor chord on my guitar.
With John making all of these joke videos about the incident, it became much harder for people to tell if it was satire or not. With people in the comments saying stuff like, "I'm pretty sure it's satire, I think he breaks character in some of his comments." What this person is referring to is that John's responses to some of the comments on his videos are weirdly clear compared to what he says on camera. An example I'm going to give you is this conversation he had with somebody in his comment section of the video where he's defending Trump. The person says, "Shit, I can't argue with that, so we should probably pull the plug, making us look bad." John says, "Nah, I love my life, live for Jesus Christ." The other person says, "Damn, that sucks, should probably live it for yourself rather than a figment of your imagination." John says, "He's more than a figment of my imagination, he died for your sins." He then also says, "More evidence that Jesus is real than Trump and Epstein." The other person says, "Did he care enough to die for your health care?" John says, "Yes, he did." More abnormally clear comments that he's made to people is this one, where the person commenting says, "Mind you, John has attempted to talk with a teenage girl." John says, "Never did that." The person commenting says, "I've seen it, buddy." And then John says, "Hasn't even happened, bro. You're schizophrenic too." It's so obvious that John knows exactly what he did. He's a lot more competent than he seems on camera. John is exactly why you can't give people like him the benefit of the doubt for having a disability. But what also makes no sense to me is how this was even able to happen. Like how John was able to speak to this 14-year-old girl at all. Because like I said, John has a caregiver, so where were they? But it doesn't seem like this caregiver is monitoring him very well because he was literally messaging a minor through Instagram. And we know this caregiver is around John a lot because they literally have a series on his Instagram page where the caregiver will interview him. And this caregiver is very aware of the kind of content that John makes. And in one of the interviews, she's subtly trying to tell him how dumb the content he makes is.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Seems like we're back.
Yep.
How you been doing?
Been doing good.
So there's going to be a change of pace from our previous show, right?
Yep.
So as previously discussed, the show could only continue if we followed certain parameters. And you prefer to make political content, right?
Yes, I tend to veer towards politics.
It appears so. So, recently, let me just consult my device. You've been posting a lot of seemingly negative and political rhetoric on your TikTok, right?
Yeah, it gets views.
It gets views. And then you and I also had a discussion, are views worth the friendships and relationships that you have currently? Do you hold your views that you get on social media higher than you hold your relationships?
No, I hold my relationship with friends higher than the social media because that's just for entertainment.
Right, but so you've taken to social media and you've posted some stuff that a lot of people don't necessarily agree with. And so that's been pretty damaging and has not necessarily gone the way you wanted it to. How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's mostly saddening, but it's mostly that people aren't taking my words seriously.
No, I think people are taking what you're saying seriously. I think people are absolutely taking what you put on social media seriously, and it's hurting people.
I didn't mean for it to hurt people. I was just doing it for entertainment.
Right, but who is it entertaining to?
Whoever watches. It's for everybody who wants to see it.
Yeah, so like I said, the caregiver's very aware that the kind of content he makes hurts people and creates a whole bunch of drama on his Instagram page. And she does not seem happy about it at all. But what I find strange is that if she knows all of this stuff about the content he's making, she definitely knows that he was caught messaging a minor because it's all over his page now. Yet John still has a phone and he still posts very frequently. So in a way, she's enabling it. But anyways, that's pretty much all there is to talk about when it comes to Johnny Campbell. He definitely needs to be monitored more by these people. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching.